Craig, how are you today, man? It's a pleasure to have you on. Pretty cool that I got you as a guest for the podcast. So, Craig, I met in 2023. I must have been 19, maybe 20. I can't remember specifically when we met, but we were in audio school together in Engine Room in New York City. Tell me about that. Tell me about what led up to that point in your life. How did you wind up in that audio school? Give me a little background.
So I started making music when I was 18, and I went to a engine room to learn how to mix my beats, mix and master, because I want to be. I'm all about self-sufficiency. Like I make my own beats, mix them, and then track on them. And originally, I wanted to be an audio engineer and record and track other people. But then at Engine Room, I realized I wanted to be the one in the booth, not working on other people's music.
Nice. What made you at 18 interested in making your own music? Because everyone loves music, but very rarely do we make music. So what inspired that?
Oh, I actually I wanted to start rapping, but I didn't want to rap on anyone else's beats, so I was like, I'm gonna make my own. But then I just fell in love with producing, and the vocals just took like a backseat.
Nice. And I had this thing too with making music. When I first started making music, and I had been going off on other people's beats that I found online on BeatStars on YouTube, etc. And then I got to the point where I was like, I just want full control over the product, you know? I need to make the
Yes.
beat because I want it to feel a certain way, and these other beats just aren't gonna do that. So
Yeah.
is that kind of a similar thought to what you had? How did you come to that conclusion? Because within the community of people who make music, it's even like a very small percentage who choose to make their own backtracks.
Yeah, for some reason I couldn't get with the idea of getting on someone else's track because I want to have my own distinct sound. I don't want to sound like anybody else. So the only way
Nice.
to do that is to like do it yourself and be original.
Of course. How did you find out about Engine Room? Are you from New York originally? How did that happen?
Hmm. I was looking for a whole bunch of schools just um to network, honestly. And I'm from North Jersey, so I'm like
Nice.
45-minute drive from the city. So it was the closest studio to me.
Nice. Yeah, I remember how it happened with me. I had been looking for something to do. I'd been living in Boston, and and I had been looking online, and then somehow this thing came up, and it was actually part of like the bigger recording connections
Yeah.
group I originally looked at, and then they had a bunch of different options, and I talked to one of their representatives, sales reps, I guess, and then we landed on Engine Room, and Engine Room had a big impact on me. Just being there, I had never really been around like obviously that level of fame and like just things happening. It's like really like the hub of kind of everything happening with music around there. What was that like for you? Was it a new experience? Were you used to uh, that kind of level of publicity, etc.?
Um. Yeah, it was a very new environment to me, but I loved it because I played a lot of sports growing up, and I was like academic. I was into my academics too. So going from like that sport like lifestyle to the music was a big change for me because not only the people but like the mindset and the work ethic you have to have. like with sports, it's grind, 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 grind. It's not really about passion or fun, but music, you could like having fun and being passionate is like the most like the most important thing to growing as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
like being around other musicians really changed my mindset. And because uh being around musicians, they're very open and um just like different than the regular people because they have the bravery and the resolve to go chase something they want to do, you know.
of course. That is a commonality among the kinds of musicians that sort of just go for it. Yeah, we were all pretty young, but there were some older people too.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of anyone in particular who inspired you from Engine Room, or was it sort of just the combination of the energy and everything?
I was inspired by so many people just because um they were talented and also like the work ethic and drive they had to make make it happen, you know.
100%. I remember when you were at sort of the point when you wanted to be an engineer. I remember at one point, I don't know how, if I invited you or how this ended up happening, but I had been working for Dutch
Oh yeah.
Midtown, and somehow you wound up at one night you were there hanging out, and so that was sort of right at the end of my professional relationship with Dutch, and what happened after that? Did you stay in contact with Dutch? Did you continue working there? I remember there was an incident, obviously, that was pretty publicized about the end of that era, the end of Dutch's studio there. What do you remember about that?
um yeah, I
Or
remember
we
going
don't have
there.
to talk about specifics in terms
Yeah.
of like, yeah, the details about the end of all that, but maybe we should actually edit out me saying Dutch. He probably wouldn't
Okay.
want that, yeah, but but what do you remember about that?
um I remember being there and just like messing with the vibe of the studio because it wasn't like professional. It was very um it was very real and like not to like studio standards, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it
the
was very
opposite. Yeah.
it was hmm, I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't professional. It wasn't like the professional clean cut. It was very like underground gritty type of vibe, and that made me feel more comfortable being in there making like my sort of music. And
Hell yeah.
also, I remember watching people in the booth and being like, "Damn, that should be me. I want to be in
Hell yeah. It was a wild time at that
there." Yeah.
studio. I look back at it and I just can't believe it sometimes. Like, and it's funny you say it wasn't a super clean cut because I was pretty much in charge of like cleaning it at that time, so I was
Mm.
definitely not performing up to the standard.
Yeah.
But well, I was trying. I was trying. I tried to like sweep and
Yeah.
do the what's it called, the you know sweeping, mopping, etc. But you could do it, and then in a couple hours it would be so bad. Like just the amount, the volume of people coming through there,
Yeah.
the small space, everything. But it was a vibe. It was like a really real vibe, like you
Yeah.
said, and I feel like it would be kind of immortalized. Like I think it had a lot of inspiration on everyone who went through there, and I heard he's doing well now. He started another place, another studio. Um, but yeah, it's funny how I kind of have like these different memories. Like one, you at audio school,
Yeah.
and then another one a bit after that point, you in Dutch's studio. So tell me about what's kind of happened with you since then. Have you still been involved in music? Have you been working on any projects? Anything in particular?
It's a funny thing. After audio school, like I really lost my like passion and creativity and mojo, and
Mm-hmm.
it really it put me in like a depression because I was so sad because I used to make music and have fun while I'm doing it, but then at some point I was just like it stressed me out, and I would get to the laptop keyboard and then just start crying because I can't come up with anything,
Yeah.
and that made me really reevaluate why I do music. It's not for clout money or anything like that. It's because I love it and it's fun to me, and
Hell yeah.
it's how I need to express myself.
That's uh that's really powerful, I think, what you said, and it's true. So for what I do, um, it's like I spent a lot of time in my life trying to figure out what it is I should be doing in terms of my career, work, whatever you want to call it. Like what should I be producing in the world? And I really came to the conclusion that my motivations can't be money, power, fame, anything. It just
Yeah,
has to be a pure and utter love for the thing I'm doing. And it has to be at the point where I love it so much that I have to force myself to stop doing it. That
yeah,
it's just, so what that's manifested for me has been something else different than music. Um, but with anything for us, we have to find what it is that we just can't stop doing.
yeah.
And it really sounds like you found that in music. And so talk to me about that low point. How did that? How long did that last? And did you get out of it? What strategies did you use? What happened? Walk me through that.
Yeah, going to audio school, like it really made me think about how other people listen to my music and all the technical stuff about it.
Yes.
Like I did make like I did get better at making music, but I thought I was getting worse because I was thinking about it so much.
Yes.
And
Yes.
also like I also my music came became like watered down and like not as original as I would like it to be because I was making it for a fandom audience at the time. Because like going to audio school, it kind of got to my head when people told me that I like my music. It's like, well, you actually like my music, like because it's just something I was doing for fun, you know.
I
And
see what you mean.
I actually had to just take a break from like producing and altogether, just start living my life, and then the music just came back to me again. Like I started learning the guitar, and um that really gave me my passion back for music.
That's awesome. When did that happen? When did you feel like you got out of that low point? Or was it a gradual thing? Was it all at once?
It's been a gradual thing because
Nice.
at first I just had to like stop trying so hard with the music and just let it like come to me. I had to start like living my life again, just going out, talking to people instead of boarding myself in a room and like making music all the time, you know?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
and I also had to like start listening to music just for the pure pleasure of it instead of like trying to like dissect each track in the song you're hearing, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I feel
of
like people
course.
who make music, like they forget to enjoy the music because they're so focused on how
Yeah,
it's being made and all that stuff.
especially when we were living in that lifestyle of just all day like breaking down music, every little
Yeah.
part. And as much as I love Engine Room, they did maintain a lot of sort of old school mentalities in the way we approach music in terms
Yeah.
of the technical aspects, and these things are all changing, and they change too fast. And Engine Room is great, and it really is just a great incubator, I think, in so many ways, where it's really a platform for people to meet each other and everything, and learn about the business, about all this stuff. Just the contacts that you get from being there, it's unbeatable. But they did have a lot of really particular ways they want you to look at the music in terms of the compression levels and
Yeah.
different things. And it did, for someone like you who is more sort of purely a creative, it
Yeah.
could be a bit uh, difficult to deal with that. Like to now be forced to look at this super technical side of things and judge your music compared to that. When we know in reality, a lot of the big artists of our generation have come from a place of not looking at the technical aspect and just going with it
Yeah.
and their art. Um, but but yeah, I think that's really insightful. And the guitar sounds really great. I'm a big guitar guy myself. What got you into that?
Just just listening to a lot of like heavy metal and just be be wanting to better myself as a musician in general. Because
Nice.
like playing an instrument, it's made my like it's changed my ideas about musicianship, and it's taught me that um that there is a place for work ethic in music and like the boring side of it, because you have to practice and be consistent with it if you want to make real progress with learning any instrument.
Yeah, and 100%. It's how I see guitar and piano, and like that was something I was really looking for at Engine Room that I just didn't find. So it was this big question I had the whole time as a singer, songwriter, a guy who wants to make his own music. Is sort of how do you do that? How do you make the chord structure, and what are the different sorts of techniques and the different variations of these chord structures, and like what makes this work and this and that, etc. Like how do you kind of tie it all together so that I can just make a song sitting down at the piano or the guitar? And I kept asking that question and I just couldn't get a clear answer because I think everyone there is like doing something specific when it comes to the music, like one specific part of it. But what I really wanted was just the most simple, like how do you get to that point of the finished song? And I had been making a lot of progress doing research, but it's just not something that's clearly
Yeah.
there's not like a clear path. But then just playing more piano, I figured it out eventually. So I've been making songs like a lot, like writing my own songs and everything, and in a more like a therapeutic way than how I approached it before. Like when was younger and like 18, 19, even 16, 17, putting out my music and just kind of because I was really just chasing something apart from the real love of it, and it's I'm really happy to have found that love again, and through something simple like the guitar and the piano you can really know music because what a guitar is just a music machine. It's
Yeah.
the same instrument as a piano, but it just has a different format in terms of how we interact with it,
Yeah.
like the notes, the chords, the keys, the everything. It's just like a music machine. So it's really good. And I'm guessing you said heavy metal, so
Yeah.
you're going electric, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Electric.
Nice. Maybe at the end you could play something a bit if you
Okay.
feel comfortable. That would be cool.
All right. Yeah, and it my coming from like producing beats and making music on a laptop before I even like started really learning an instrument was it's like learning kind of backwards, you know?
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%.
But
Yeah, that's a big point.
like it's like but it also like it helped me not like it's I used always used to say that my least favorite part about making music is sitting at the laptop just because
Yeah.
it's just like clicking and staring, you know?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
but now with the guitar you could like you feel it like the music literally like comes to your
Yeah, yeah.
fingers.
Hell yeah. It's a
So
powerful feeling.
yeah, and like making music on entirely on a in a grid instead of like using your ears and listening to like the rhythm instead of seeing it. I'm that really helped me because like learning music theory and learning how to mix, I really started to make music with my eyes, if you know what I mean, you know, like looking at the
Yes.
levels,
That's interesting.
looking at like the chord progressions. I'm gonna use a 1 5 6 4 chord progression because that's sounds good instead of just being like I'm playing these notes because this is the feeling I'm going for, you know?
Nice. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Like, but I didn't think about it like that before. So thank you for introducing that perspective, which is when we're doing it on the laptop all day and obsessing over the levels, and then it's sort of all subjective, but they kind of teach it as if it's objective in terms of how you
Yes.
want the levels and everything. Yeah, it can really, when we're only using our eyes, it can just tire out our brain. And music is a whole body thing. It's not just
Yeah.
an eye thing. So
Like
that's
my whole oh sorry, my whole philosophy on music is music's not supposed to be heard, it's supposed to be felt.
that's
So
facts. Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
trying to make things like I want people to like feel it, not try to listen to it so hard. You know what I said? You know what I mean?
yes. Like when we think about the music we love, we're thinking about the feelings that that song gives us.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
It's not like uh I love this because uh it was a major seventh to a major ninth or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like this feeling is awesome, but because of the sound, like I'm trying to
Yeah.
make it purely from an experiential point of view instead of just like thinking about it so
And
hard.
yeah, it's funny you say that because there definitely are a lot of people who make music and are in the audio community who will tell you that to your face. They'll say, "Did you hear how this major seventh went to the major ninth? I love this so much." But really,
Yeah,
they're just kind of bullshitting themselves, like because it's not about that. It's about the
yeah,
feeling.
exactly. Like,
Oh, well,
it's
they're not bullshitting, but they're just
yeah,
misrepresenting their emotion because what their emotion is the underlying thing which it is, and it could
yeah,
have to do with some the chords, of course, but it's really just the feeling that it evokes in you. And a song could have the same chord progression and not hit that feeling because of other things and because of the whole vibe and
yeah.
everything.
Or like a song could you could not like a song in one moment just because of your emotional and mental
Hell yeah.
state, and then you could love a song in the next moment because you're feeling really good. Like
Yes.
it's music. Like the way we hear music has so much to do with us, and everyone hears music differently. Like I remember, I forgot there was a guest in on Engine Room. He was like a producer from the '90s, and uh, he said it's about how you hear the music. You know, like because
Mm-hmm.
everyone hears it differently. Like that used to mess with me too. I used like I'd hear it. I'd music would sound different to me in different like states of minds and times, and I'm like, why? Like, why is it sounding so different? You know, like
It's a really good point. Um, it's about how we hear the music, not about the music.
Yeah,
And it's the same point the movie The Matrix makes when they have that scene. I'm not sure if you're familiar with The Matrix,
yeah.
but
I
there's
love
the
that movie.
scene where the kid bends the spoon, right?
Yep.
So the kid's holding this spoon, and then it starts to bend in front of Neo's eyes, and Neo's like, "What's going on?" And then the kid is like, "You have to realize there is no spoon." And the sort of point that that's making is that our reality is how it is, but the way we interpret it is what makes our reality our reality. So the reality will change if our interpretation of it changes and the way we see it changes. And it's like that applies
Yes.
to music, to life, to everything. It's really our mind is able to change things like that
Yeah.
um, by realizing there's no real rules, like in the way we
Hmm.
think about them. Just curious, have you seen the movie called Snowpiercer?
Nope.
Okay, it's like a really great movie about this train that's going and it's in the future, so everything is like apocalypse and all of humanity is on one train and the train goes around the world and never stops because it just has to because like the climate is too bad for the people to get out of the train. And then the train is really long, so it has all of humanity left on it. And at the front of the train is like the government, the people who control the train and have all the resources and the best food and everything. And the far back of the train is just the people who the poorest people who have nothing and they only get like small rations every day and they're just huddled and really crowded and horrible conditions. And then the way that the front of the train keeps the order on the train is by having guards with guns walk around everywhere to keep this sense of order. And then the people in the back of the train are planning and plotting, and they're like, we need to overthrow the people in the front of the train. Um, and then their leader, his name was Curtis, he realized one day that the guns of the guards don't have bullets in them. The bullets don't exist. The only control is the the making you think that the bullets are
Yeah,
there.
the fear.
Yeah, so it's like and then once he realized that, then they just go all out and overthrow the whole train. And it's like this is like a common thing I see repeating in life, like this theme of like our reality, us choosing to believe limitations and things like that. But I'm sorry to go off into this
Yeah.
tangent. But I love that movie so much, so I
Yeah.
love bringing it up.
That's that, that's funny that you say that because I was just trying to say that sometimes like a mindset. Sometimes all you need is just a simple mindset change, and that could
Yes.
change everything. Like, because you might be closing, like shutting out and turning away opportunities because you're not aware of them or open to them. Like,
100%.
like, say, like I just got a new car.
Fire.
I just got a new Audi. Now on the roads, I'm seeing more Audis. But am I really seeing more Audis, or am I just more aware of those
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
cars now?
that's a common thing people notice when they get a car. Like that happened to me too. It always happens where you notice your car way more. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
uh,
that's like with opportunity. Now that you're aware that there are opportunities, now you're going to be looking for them everywhere, and then
hell
you
yeah.
see them and then you take them.
Yeah, it's like one of these like theoretical physics theories is sort of it might be string theory or it might be something else, but it kind of implies that everything we need in life is always within our line of sight, but we just don't realize it. Like at some point, it's gonna be in your line of sight, and like you just don't know it in the moment. The same thing, how like there will be people in your life and you'll realize that they were actually around you the whole time, but you didn't notice them or understand them until later. when you properly meet them. So it's
Yeah.
like things are kind of always there for you. You just have to figure out how to find them
Yeah.
or look for them.
It's like tuning yourself like a guitar. You
Yeah.
gotta tune yourself to get on the right notes on the fretboard. You gotta tune yourself to the right note first.
Yeah, are you looking at your guitar right now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fire. Can I see it?
Yeah. It's my favorite one. I have a couple.
Wow, that's dope. That's
Yeah.
so cool. What is that, seven strings?
Yeah, it's a seven string V neck. V flying V. Not V neck. This one.
I never learned what's the difference with the what is the seventh string?
It's a lower string. So like uh standard guitars are tuned
E A
E A
B.
B G B E. It's adding a B string. It's B A B E A D. It's adding a
Wow.
so you get that low. You get a
Bass.
lower you get that you get
Low B.
yeah you get a lower register.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it just like I never like I for some reason I felt
It
like going
looks
to guitar.
cool.
Good.
Sorry.
Yeah, I felt like going to Guitar Center to get. I just wanted a flying V so bad, but the only and then I saw that one and it looked so cool to me and I didn't even play seven strings at the time, so I just got it because
That's fire.
it just like spoke to me. I needed it. It was the last one. I took it off the shelf, but
Wow.
and
Did you go
then
to the
now
one in the city? In
no, it's in Jersey,
Okay.
and it was and I didn't never played seven strings before, but I still got it because I was like, it's an extra string, no big deal. But it's like almost like a totally different instrument just because it's bigger, and you play it differently because you have that lower the lower notes now. And
Yeah.
now I don't even want to play my six strings that
That's
often.
fire. That's interesting. That's really cool. Um, yeah, that's totally cool you got into guitar.
Yeah, like it really helped me get through like a really tough time in my life because in this like December I had a house fire. My childhood home burnt down.
Really.
Yeah, so and like I was going through like heartbreak, so it was like I was just really messed up emotionally. I just didn't want to be in my head, but the
Had you
guitar
been
the
Sorry,
guitar
go
gave
on.
me the guitar gave me an escape. So like I would just do that. I just because after the um fire, I was living in a hotel for a bit, and all I did in that hotel was learn like play my guitars, just because I that's all I wanted to do. I was so obsessed with it because everything else in my life wasn't going well at the time. So it was like,
Mm,
I if if nothing's going well, I'm gonna get really good at this guitar just because everything sucks now. So I might as well like embrace the suck of practicing and learning learning the boring stuff so I could have fun and um like it becomes like almost like walking to me, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
I think
like watching Jimi Hendrix play like that you see the guitar, it's like an extension of him. It's
yes.
like he's not really thinking about it. It's like literally walking or dancing, you know?
Yeah, it's like part of his body, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I needed to hear that. What you just said, like I've been going through a lot of stuff, and I think it's really powerful what you just said about like when everything else is just going to shit,
Yeah.
just embracing the thing that,
Is giving you like some sort of solace.
yes,
That's like almost with like the obsession thing. Like you do like you're we were talking about like um making that like the love for music and the obsession is what drives you, you know?
yes,
So it's just like taking the obsession and running with it because if you're obsessed with something, you don't have to like force yourself to do. It's like it kind of just you're
Yeah.
like almost you're like a magnet to it. Like you can't help it, you know?
Yeah. 100%. Talk to me about the heartbreak because I know like I've struggled with it too, and it can have really big impact on our life and our motivation, our inspiration, on everything.
Yeah, so it was like so I met this no, I've known this girl for a while, but we just reconnected and like I I've never felt so connected to someone in my life, and it was like all like platonic. It was a deep platonic love I had for her,
Mm-hmm.
but like she had her own things going on, and like it felt like she was just using me and not um like wanting to be my friend or whatever, you know, because um it's hard to talk about because I haven't I try not to think about it, but uh it's like huh, I can't I'm blanking now.
No
But
worries.
it was just because I've never felt that sort of connection to
Of
someone and
course.
that being reciprocated back.
Yes.
And it was it was hard for me to even accept that sort of like love and connection just because I've rejected it to myself for so long.
This is
You know?
interesting. Yeah, because I'm pretty much going through the same thing. Not the same thing, but like very, like everything you're saying, I really
Yeah.
feel deeply in my soul. A lot of it, at least. And yeah, it's like, yeah, like these things are tough, especially
Yeah.
for kind of, tortured artists like
Yeah.
you and I. It's, yeah, I guess everyone is a tortured artist at
Yeah.
heart,
It
but
was
yeah.
like the first heartbreak I like really experienced, and I was like I never want to feel this type of shit again. I'm like it opened my eyes, but it also opened to my eyes to how much I could really love someone or something, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the beauty of it. Like
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's scary though, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Letting like allowing myself just to love and be vulnerable was very
Yes.
hard for me. And then when being vulnerable and allowing yourself loves to like backfires, that's
Yeah.
you're like, why did I even let myself do that? I'm such an idiot. Like there's so many
Mm-hmm.
things you think about yourself, but it's just like that's what happened. Like you have to allow yourself to go through things like that to grow.
Of course. And yeah, it's been a big step for me because pretty much since my first romantic connection with a woman, I had been protecting myself like preemptively, like
Yeah.
breaking my own fall so that regardless of whatever might happen, I'm always gonna be good. I'm always gonna
Yeah.
have something to fall back on. Like, but you sort of have to not do that if you want it to be a real thing or for a chance to it to be a real thing, and it's tough, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a big change, yeah, big learning thing, especially when I think you and I are similar in the sense that with work, with life, with everything we do, we go all in.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no, yeah. So it's
Yes.
like when we go all in with the love stuff, it's like it's dangerous for the other stuff in a way because we'll be completely in it
Yeah.
and not even thinking about music, not even thinking about the other stuff. Like we just can't, like I'm sure you've had
Yeah.
nights where you just can't think of anything when you're trying to
Yeah.
sleep. And yeah, it's tough, but it's beautiful, and
Yeah.
it's a crazy thing to be able to love so deeply.
Yeah. Literally, like I see it as like like a blessing. Like just the fact that I had that experience and I was like it was so all encompassing. Like now that I'm out of it, I'm like, what the hell happened? Who was that? like at me, like who was that person? You know, because
Yeah.
it was like it took like a whole like year of my life. I kind of gave to someone else, you know, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like I'm very like focused on me. Like I'm not trying to look like I'm not like outwardly trying to make friends or have a girlfriend or nothing like that. I just like that's just stuff just like comes to me, and then if it's for me and I like it, I'm just like I'll run with it. But I'm not like I'm very to myself. I'm not focused on like making friends. But
Yeah.
that
No,
sounds
100%.
bad. You know,
It's
like
exactly. I have the same thing. Um, I just don't. I'm not into having friends if it's not gonna be helping me get towards my
yeah.
goal,
If
or
it's
if
not like real
yeah, yeah. If it's if
and helping me grow, you know?
yeah, helping you grow. That's exactly the thing. It's like your friends should be people you grow with, and that's you have the goals and all of these things. Were you ever were people in your life, maybe this person you were with or other people, questioning you like, why are you so introverted? Why don't you, like most guys your age, they're going out with their friends all the time, partying this and that.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that? Did you ever get hit with that question, and how did you respond?
Yeah, I get that. I kind of get that a lot because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like outwardly I look like a person that's out like I used to be a person that's outgoing and
Mm-hmm.
trying to be where all the people are out and like trying to be outside and trying to connect with everyone. But then I kind of realized I'm like losing myself.
Yes, in that process.
Yeah, I'm losing myself in that process. So,
Um, yeah, I've been thinking about it. It's like it is a real scientific
yeah,
psychological thing that when we go when we're looking to be accepted as a human, like our animal brain,
yeah,
when we're in a group, we will change the way we think just to fit in better with the group. Our brain will rewire itself to like the things that they like, to care about the things that they
yes,
care about, just as a survival mechanism to fit in. It's just
yeah,
how, because we want to be part of the tribe. We don't want to be excluded. So it's like when you when you have that life, when you're doing these
yeah,
things, being around the people, chasing that
yeah,
validation, you're accepting that you are giving up yourself and becoming one with them, and you are giving up any ambition or thing that could be bigger than them,
yeah,
because they won't tolerate that. They want you all on the same page, the
yeah,
same level. So I think that's a powerful insight.
yeah. Uh, I feel like people will see your greatness and like potential and will try to actively keep you from it just because it makes them
Hmm.
uncomfortable. They're not comfortable seeing those like you might bring out parts of themselves that they're not comfortable with, so they want to put you in their box. But
100%. But yeah, it's like I think you and me definitely. I know that I've just lost that desire. Like it just
yeah,
doesn't exist anymore. It's like I'm like really attached to my life, and it's just there's no more confusion about
yeah,
fitting in or anything. Like
yeah,
yeah, like people will like you if you're yourself much more, and be drawn to you. And it's like that expression: if you
yeah,
build it, they will come. Are you
yep,
gonna go to something else someone else has built, or are you gonna build your own thing and people are gonna come? And yeah.
yeah. Like, like especially as a kid, my biggest fear was like if I'm unapologetically me, no one would like me. And that growing up, that kind of had some truth to it, because when you are real, just less people are gonna be relatable to you, because most people are like playing roles and trying to fit other expectations. But like, I realized people, like the people that do like me, really like mess with me,
Yes.
instead of just everyone just like
Yeah.
being okay with your presence and stuff. You know what I mean?
You're totally right about that. Yeah, it's like this fear that people kind of have embedded in them.
Yeah.
What we realize once we live the life of being true to ourselves is that that fear is a myth.
Yeah.
And maybe at first it will be true because you're new
Yeah.
to it. You're new to being
Yeah.
yourself. And it's hard, but after you do it for a long time, it's just who you are, and people
Yeah.
will come and people love it much more, give you much more attention, much more love than you would ever get if you're just part of this group. Um, so yeah, I think that's super powerful. Yeah, it's crazy to look back on the last couple of years since Engine Room and
Yeah.
everything, and it's been a wild journey. Another guy, I don't know, do you remember Mach?
I remember the name, but I can't put a face to it.
He had a studio in Dutch's building, in that building, but it was a couple floors below. He still has that spot, I think. He's always
Yeah.
looking for help there. But he's a cool guy. I was thinking of maybe coming back to New York briefly at some point too, and visiting them and just seeing what's going on. Um, so music, we talked about your past. We talked about some shit you've gone through and kind of how you're dealing with that and rebounding. On the topic of love, how are you gonna approach it now? Like, what now? What are you gonna do basically with that?
I'm just trying to like build up me. I'm so focused on like building my skills, building my like sense of self back up to where
Yes.
I'm at a point where I I'm not like hungry for attention or validation. It's just like, oh, this person's really fun. I enjoy spending time with this person, so I'm going to spend time with this person right now. You know, like
Hell yeah.
it's just like following my highest excitement at the moment. Because if you just follow the fun, you're always having fun.
Hell yeah.
So
And yeah, I think that that thing about your sense of self and rebuilding it is super vital. And it's something I've been dealing with too, kind of losing touch with my sense of self and uh, and trying to figure out how to rebuild it and
yeah,
how because the maybe not rebuild it the same way it was before because there were some issues with how it was wired, you
yeah,
know. But I want to have a healthy sense of self, but I totally can't exist with like a diminished sense of self, and no one can. It's
yeah,
really tough. Um, and we can feel like that when we've kind of given our self to someone or something, and yeah, it
yeah.
gets confusing and blurry. But I think there's always hope when it comes to that. How do you see, or were you trying to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's so important to like view ourselves and see ourselves as people too. Some because sometimes like we're so mean and um over we expect too much out of ourselves um like instead of like seeing yourself as another, like treating yourself how you would another person. Like a lot of the stuff we say to ourselves in our heads, we would never ever say to someone else, you know, because that's wrong or mean, you know. Like we have to treat ourselves with the same compassion that we give other people.
I think you're right about that, and I think it's interesting to think about it in terms of what we say to ourselves and our brain versus what we say to other people. I've been thinking about it recently, and I see it like I kind of see everything like a code now, not in like a superficial or pessimistic way, but everything is like computers and code.
Yeah, I
So
like
it's
that
like
too.
so I'm like a computer as a human. My brain is like the repository of all the outputs of
Yeah,
my think thoughts, and then my words are so the computer takes the repository, it examines everything, and then it tries to identify words which might best express my intentionality and personality and everything to the people I talk to. And it's obviously a flawed system because of English, because of everything. So it's not a perfect way of getting your thoughts to uh, for people. And when we're in life, we're dealing with people. We everyone's at a different point in terms of what they're open to understanding when they
yep,
hear words. So like we're trying to always use these words, but no, the person you're talking to might just be in a completely different place where they have no ability to
yep.
interpret that or to understand it or to take it into account. And it's like a totally a flawed system. I think humans, we developed body language, right, for like millions of years or
Yeah.
whatever, and it became so perfect, like the kind of body language, like the really subtle body
Mm-hmm.
language like that we see in animals and everything.
Yeah.
And then we came up with words, but the words I think is a much inferior language to the body language, and we just lost touch with the body language because we're using words. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's a whole can of worms we don't need to open up right now. But to your point, um,
Mhm.
the brain is like the repository, so of course it's going to be a lot more honest than what our words are because that's
Yeah.
just the raw data. Like,
Yep.
um, but it is funny, like this internal dialogue we have with ourselves.
Yeah. And
Um,
I think that changing that for me was one of the biggest things that helped me grow. Instead of just constantly putting myself down for not being where I should be, like I give myself the compassion. It's like, okay, I'm not where where I think I should be, but that's okay because I'm trying. You know, it's not like actively trying to self sabotage. It's I'm doing my best, and sometimes like all you could do is your best. You
yeah,
know, we it's
yeah, we can't
important.
do everything.
Yeah, literally. And it's like accepting uh my where I'm at and my limitations. You know,
Nice.
because if I can't accept it, I can't change it.
Yeah, I uh, totally feel that. Yeah, I didn't realize how philosophical you were. We never had like a deep conversation like this,
Yeah.
but like you clearly are like have thought about this stuff like on a really like real, honest way, which is really cool. It's always nice for me to hear that these kinds of ideas, and especially when they're so well thought out and communicated.
Mm. Thank you,
Um,
because I feel like I don't. I'm not. I don't express myself in the best way possible with words. That's literally why I f- I like making music. I feel like I'm better at expressing myself and emotions through music and sound other than words. Because words are just like a sound that we have our own
yeah,
definitions
everyone
to.
has their own definitions,
So like
and yeah.
whenever you speak, you could just hope someone gets what you mean. Like you can't really, not really.
Yeah, it's not efficient,
Yeah,
and I tell my girlfriend all the time this, like about how I'm just horrible with communicate, like
yeah,
putting things into words. It's I'm always misrepresenting my points and like saying different variations of the same points or like different things which contradict other things, and
yeah,
it's just this jumbled mess because I feel like at this point I'm just giving her the repository. I'm not trying to like cater it to her with my words. I
Yeah.
kind of made that like conscious and subconscious decision to just have an open floodgate of my mind with her, because
Yeah.
it does cause problems when I try to tailor things to
Yeah.
her and like all that stuff.
'Cause
Um,
you don't really know what how they're gonna uh receive your information, you know? Like you might filter yourself to like get a certain reaction or um not like press a certain button, but how do you know if you're gonna press that button? You know that it
yeah,
could what you really mean, like what you really mean to say, could have like a greater impact than what you think you should say.
yes, yeah, I agree 100%. Um, yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, to like start thinking about this stuff for me. Like recently, I never really cared too much about these topics and like really confronting my mind and looking into it. I was more on just go, go, go.
Yeah,
Uh, but it is healthy, and to do it in an optimistic way, like always optimistic and not
yeah,
being upset with your past self, but just looking to heal and to improve and to get to a healthy spot. And yeah, it's just having that intentionality will lead us to that spot. We really don't have to think about it too much.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I find it fascinating, and in terms of career life, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years.
In 2030?
I see myself on tour, rocking out stages, giving the best performance anyone has ever seen.
Nice. That's fire. I can't wait to see that.
Thanks. It's already happened. It's just time is just gotta wait for it to actually happen.
100%. Yes. Wait, go more into that. What do you mean by that point about
Like,
time?
huh? So why 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 are we so why are we so why do we get so focused on our goals and want them so bad? It's because we think it's gonna give us a certain feeling.
Yeah,
So if you try to just imagine and get that feeling, feel that feeling, and like be that feeling before it actually happens, you put yourself in that like emotional and mental state of it happening because you have that feeling, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
it's the
also,
spoon.
you're not like, if you feel like you already have it, you're not so like um what's the word, rigid and strict, and have your grip on this thing so tightly that you like it pops out of your hands. Like
You're
you're
right.
more, you just allow it to happen because it's already happening.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that point. I kind of half expected you to start talking about time and space continuum, like how time has already happened and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But in the way you're saying it too, it's like kind of the same idea, and the idea of the spoon bending and there is no spoon. It's like
yeah,
we make the reality based on ourselves. We are the machine which
yeah,
creates the reality. Like all we know to exist is just what we see through our eyes, what we hear through our ears, what we taste, what we smell, all of this stuff. That's all that it is.
yeah,
As far as we know, we don't know if any of this stuff actually
yeah,
exists. So if we are the factory that's creating this stuff, then all we have to do is just change our mentality and
yeah.
emotional state, like you said, to set that reality up, and it will happen. And it's like, yeah, that's super powerful.
Yeah, I like, you have to be him before you have wait. Uh, you have to be him before you become him.
That's correct. I like that.
So it's just like, and like it like I said, like you want that thing because it feels good. But if you're just already feeling good, you don't really need that thing, and then it just happens to come to you.
Yeah, 100%. It's yeah, it's like there's a lot of elements to it, but essentially it's that.
Yeah.
It's just setting ourselves up for our own success. And yeah, it's that's that really seems to be the point of everything, and like the secret trick behind life. What is life? That's
Yeah.
like a real trick. Have you been paying any attention to this stuff with quantum computing and artificial intelligence?
No, I haven't. I have not.
Um, yeah, I think it's important. Like I kind of became super into it recently in terms of like like coding and stuff, and
Yeah.
using AI to code better and faster. And so the idea behind quantum computing, if I could break it down, is like, so you know how traditional computers, they run on a system called binary,
Yep.
which is 0 1 0, etc.
Yep.
And so there are two options for each digit. It can be a 0 or it can be a 1. Um, and so the 0 and 1 is like a switch. It tells an electronic component on a circuit board to turn the current on or off. And that's how they control everything. So they take
Yeah.
that binary system and then have just millions of zeros and ones. And sorry, the audio just changed so I can like hear the echo. I don't know what happened, but all right, it's fine now.
Okay.
I don't hear the echo. So they have millions of zeros and ones like on your phone or whatever.
Yep.
And then they're each saying turn on, turn off. So that's how they control everything on like a macro level. That's like the micro level.
Yeah.
So now with quantum computing, and those zeros and ones are called bits. So
Yeah.
every digit is a bit. So if your system has 1,000 bits, then it's 1,000. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But so then quantum is taking bits, but instead of 0 and 1, two options, you there's quantum mechanics and quantum science, which allows you to have things like superpositioning. So you can have like exponential options for each thing. So it sort of takes, we can have the same space and size computer, but be able to have exponentially more computing power. Uh, and why is that important? People ask, like, so what if we have a computer with a million times more computing power than our best supercomputer? It's kind of like, since like the 50s, 60s, pretty much everything at the bleeding edge of our tech has been determined by the computing power we have to run hypotheticals and simulations and different things,
Yeah.
calculations. So it's gonna change everything, and it already is at like a really fast way, especially combined with AI. And it's kind of gonna really quickly change everything. Like one really big thing is the speed of light. So like Einstein came up, he had his theory of general relativity,
Yeah.
which is like his theory is as an object approaches the speed of light, it becomes infinitely more expensive in terms of the energy it takes to propel that object, so that it would be theoretically impossible for any object with mass to reach or break the speed of light. But now with quantum physics, there's this thing called quantum entanglement.
Yep.
So it's the idea that two particles can be connected and instantly changed by one another, regardless of how far apart they are in the universe. So it's like they've harnessed this quantum entanglement to run quantum computers along with quantum superpositioning. So now they have a way of using quantum entanglement, like harnessing this to kind of have their exponential qubit system in the
Hmm.
computer. But the basic thing is that now we know that there is something connecting these, information that is getting from one particle to the other particle, crossing ridiculous distances in seemingly instantaneously, much faster than the speed of light. But we just don't know what that is. We don't have the technology to see what it is connecting them. But we're going to get there with quantum and with AI. At that point, we'll have the ability to go faster than the speed of light and sort of instantly get anything anywhere in the universe in one moment, in one instant. And that's going to unlock a lot of potential for us. And it's going to really change the way everything works in life, like transportation will be instant. Getting mining like some distant asteroid, or
Yeah.
we'll set up colonies on different planets, like set up countries and like expand, and pretty much everyone will be able to do anything because materials won't be expensive anymore unless someone tries to control everything. It will be kind of like free to do
Yeah.
anything. So it's gonna really change, and also the really big thing I'm excited about is figuring out where we came from, like why life exists in general,
Yeah.
um, which we'll be able to do once we break the light speed barrier by kind of going really far past light and then looking back in time using AI to have a comprehensive idea of what spawned humans. Did we evolve? If we did evolve, then where did that come from? Where did the original life come from? How did it all work? We'll be able to have these answers pretty soon. It's kind of like this thing that is like a hidden open secret in the tech community right now. Like everyone's
Yeah.
going crazy about this. Like it's because it's like, how do you communicate this to people that we're going to have all these advancements in like a ridiculously short amount of time? And I'm kind of like joined that wave, so now I'm directly working on these systems and different systems, coding, doing web development and different things like that. But it's like it's
Nice.
become my whole obsession, my whole life.
Yeah.
And so this has been, I'm sorry for just
Yeah.
launching into this randomly, but like I've
No,
been
that's
telling
very interesting.
everyone I talk to about it because I really think about it so much, and what it's gonna look like, and it would be a wild time. Like it's very crazy that we're alive right at the time when this is happening.
Yeah. That that's very interesting. And like when you said like traveling at the speed of light, it's um like I when I think about like how I would teleport, it's like so it's almost like changing my identity too, since part of my identity is the environment. You know what I'm saying? So if
Hmm.
you like change that part of your identity, that's the environment, wouldn't you be in a different place? Because you're, because you literally changed yourself, which is part of your environment. So if you change the part of yourself that is the environment, you could teleport. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think that's what I'm doing. Like I'm doing, I think that's what we're doing, but it's not like a magic thing. It's like,
Yeah.
but it manifests itself in the exact same result. So it's like I'm deciding I want my environment to be intergalactic.
Yeah.
So I'm like getting to that point where I'll be able to be anywhere in the solar system, in the observable universe beyond that. Like, so that will be the end result. And it's this, like, I think that's kind of how the magic manifests itself in the process it forces you to go on. And
Yeah.
like, um, yeah, it's wild stuff, but like, yeah, you're totally right, and that's what we can do. That's so we do it all the time. Like, we change our identity, and then it manifests itself in a new location. Right now, I'm in the
Yep.
Boston area. Before, I was in Jersey City area. So it's like that happened because of me changing.
Yep.
Like I'm suddenly in a different state. It's not random, but it will happen on a bigger level. So it will be like the I'm changing my everything about this, so then the technology will just come from that. Like I don't have to think about it. Like
Yeah.
it's just happening
Yep.
based off of the universe and what it wants. Like I'm not thinking about when I'm thinking about these algorithms and calculations and all this stuff. It's like it's not me consciously. It's just this power of
Yep.
life that's doing it, using my body like a tool to do it. So I don't
Yeah.
have to think about it. I don't have to stress about it. It just is happening. Like, and
Flow
I'm
state.
just, yeah, flow state, exactly. But it's gonna look pretty cool. Things are gonna change a lot. Yeah. But it's probably nothing you didn't expect. Like I can tell that you're like in that flow state of not like exactly what I'm saying, but like you're like I feel like there's not a lot that could surprise you about life. Would you agree?
Yeah, because I know, like, I know that I know nothing.
Yes.
That's what really, like, keeps me, like, curious, and also, like, curious, humble, and open minded. Because, like, I know the only thing I really, really know is that I don't know anything for sure, like 100%. You know what I'm saying? I
That's
have these
fire.
feelings and inclinations, but I don't take my feelings and inclination as fact. Like, although it is like objectively experienced, like my like whatever I'm thinking is real doesn't mean it's the truth or like the end all be all.
100%. Um, yeah, I think that's totally true, and it is a thing, a conclusion that I have also accepted that it's like purely there's nothing that's certain
Yeah.
and sort of open to everything, and that's kind of helps us see that there are no rules
Yep.
um like scientists and etc who are married to old ideas of the
Yep.
past like Einstein's theories etc. It's like this will always hold us back when we get married to ideas because we're all humans and we all have the faults of humans, and
Yep.
it's like that idea was just another guy. Like
Yeah.
the idea that the levels of the kick drum has to
Yeah.
be perfectly proportional to the bass. This is just another guy. It's not like some
Yeah.
god, Everyone's just a person. So
Yeah.
like why are we going to make it seem like some of us can make rules for the rest of us about what's possible and what's not? Um, it's just bullshit. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's like other people putting their limiting beliefs on you.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And you could just be like, "Oh, that's not my belief." And everyone's like entitled to their own opinions, and you don't have to believe them, but um
But don't let them make rules for the way you
yeah,
do things.
exactly. Like like with the like you were saying, um like the kick in bass, the levels have to be like a certain criteria. It's like,
The
okay,
side chain.
that might work for that song, but it might not work for another song. Like whatever works until it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like we can't
Yes.
be tied and nailed down to certain methods or ideologies
That's a
because
fire quote. What you said that whatever works works until it doesn't. It's
yeah,
totally true. Um, yeah, we can't get married to these ideas we have.
yeah,
Like in the 1500s, right? Like they were married to the ideas. They had a society just like our society
hmm,
that was married to the idea that putting leeches on your body to suck out the blood would heal you for regardless of what the
yeah,
disease is. It was cleansing. It would get you healthier. In reality, it does the opposite. It has either no effect or an incredibly uh, detrimental effect.
yeah,
So if you had gone back in time and you had talked to that society and said, these leeches are that's not that's not good. There's better real ways we can fix these diseases. You don't have to put 50 leeches on you and go to sleep like that. You don't have to
Yep.
do this. You don't have to drink the blood of a goat, you know?
Yeah.
What would they have told you? They would have said you're crazy.
Yep.
Like this guy needs to go to a mental place. He's not contributing to society. He's going against the grain. He's crazy. Like why are you going to tell us we're wrong? What evidence do you have? Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But it's like we look at it today as if this is the great fault of humanity. We look at things constantly as if we're certain of everything,
Yep.
and we never consider the potential that maybe we're wrong about like most of this stuff which we've based these other facts on. It's just, like, so if a guy came back in time from the year 3000 and started talking to us, he would be like, why are you doing this? Why are you killing these animals? Don't you know they
Yeah.
have just as much conscience as you? Like,
Yeah.
don't you know
It's funny.
why are you doing this? Why are you fighting over things you don't actually disagree on, but you're
Yeah.
just looking for have political fights? And why are you wasting all your time this? You could be a million times more efficient. And we would be like, bro, like fuck off, you're crazy. You're like,
Yeah.
so it's like we go through these cycles, and humans always, no matter what the year is, we always think we know everything as a society when it's just not true. It's like um yeah, like imagine if in the year 1500 they had just all decided they didn't know anything and they were open to learning things. They could have become like a super advanced society really quickly.
Yep.
um but but yeah, I think we always fall into that thing. Like I'm always a critic of the establishment when it comes to academia, science,
Yes.
music, whatever it is. It's like there shouldn't be an establishment to begin with. We're all
Yes.
humans. There's no club of humans that has things more figured out than the
Yeah.
rest of us. It's like, you know what I'm kind of saying?
Yes. 100%. I'm like, I love, like, I think education is so important. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the way we do it in Western society is like backwards and like very harmful. Like people don't get smarter. They just learn how to memorize information and they just say some other stuff that someone else told them. They're not taught how to think. They're not taught how to like
Live.
they're taught how to live. They're not taught how to like um figure out things for themselves. It's just you memorize this and this is how it is. And it's like like the way I think of like college, it's like almost like a cult because you got to take all these like classes. You get it like you graduate from different.
Yeah.
It's like being initiated into like
Yes. Yeah.
a cult of a club that has certain ideologies.
Thinking about it like a cult, I agree with you because I was in sort of a cult in my past, so I 100% know the point you're making, um and agree with that. And yeah, I've noticed like so uh just that point we were making earlier about how people you surround yourself, they influence how you think. uh, Particularly if you're sort of emotionally vulnerable or not like well in control of yourself
Yeah.
at the point when you're still, you know uh, coddled and protected and everything. At the point when you're going to one of these schools, it's sort of like the schools and the teachers and the students and everything, they inject their ideology into your mind at a time when your mind is so
Yep.
malleable and vulnerable. And these kids come out of the 4 years, and their idea of what's right and what's wrong is not their idea. It's this
Yeah.
thing that the school put into them. And I think that's why a lot of the time now we're seeing like people kind of like just being crazy,
Yeah.
believing really radical crazy things. And it's like um like hateful things, and it's like, yeah, that it makes me think about like how I'd handle it with my own kids one day, making sure they're not being manipulated and like
Yeah.
changed to certain ideologies or whatever it is in their school or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
Like,
like but I think public school is harmful for like everyone. Like for me, my experience of going to school, like I was a good student. I played sports, but after I graduated high school, I was a total mess because I didn't uh I didn't get taught anything important about life and stuff. I just learned how to pass tests and memorize information that is wrong, like literally stuff that is
yeah,
completely
just
wrong and
yeah,
like
it's just
immoral.
wrong. Yeah,
Like
100%.
that. Okay, so my high school that I went to, our mascot was like the Indians, like
Yeah.
Native American people. And like now to think about going back to like that was 2020. Like in 2020 their mascots were in like Indians. Like how is that like a people? And I remember even students were like when they were changing it, they were they hated it. They were like, I'm a proud Indian, I'm proud to be an Indian. Like, bro, you're not Native American. And me like actually having Native American ancestry is like what you're trying like for me it's like you're
That's crazy.
they said it's out of respect because they were tough and um like warrior like people, but if you respected them you wouldn't have massacred them to the point where
Yeah.
they almost don't exist here. So
Yeah, it's like the Native American thing is very interesting to me.
yeah,
Um, well, let me talk about that, but first I want to just the point I was making before, I wanted to say one more thing on that.
yeah,
So it's like, especially with a lot of these schools and colleges, it's like the people who go there are being taught that they're the rebel, that they're against the grain of society, that
yeah,
they're the not the establishment. When in reality, these people are totally herd mentality. Like they
yep,
just go along. They're not a rebel in any sense of the word because everyone they interact with thinks the exact same way, makes the same points, has the same political, societal beliefs that they do. So they are simply the opposites of the word rebel. Um, they're just part of a herd.
yeah,
But on the thing of Native Americans, which I find fascinating, so because I lived a few years in Latin America, so
yeah,
I lived Mexico, a bunch of places in between, all the way down to Chile. And
oh,
so I'm very familiar with the indigenous communities there in Latin America, further
yeah,
south than North America, but Mexico too. I was in Mexico. In these countries, they have a semi-similar storyline in terms of how they came to be. So the English and different Europeans came to America and overthrew, got rid of the well, not got rid of, but like you
yeah,
said, massacred the Native Americans living in
yeah,
America. And now there's almost no evidence or trace of the Native culture in our society. We don't see the artwork, we don't see it represented like in any
yeah,
way. Um, so in Latin America, the Spanish were the Europeans who came there.
yep,
It was pretty much the Spanish and the Portuguese, right?
mm-hmm,
And they did this. They did the same thing, worse in a lot of ways, like with the
yeah,
indigenous. In some countries, like Chile, really bad. Like
like the whole Spanish Inquisition.
yes, the Inquisition, right? So the similar kind of storyline. Except the thing is that now, when you're in Latin America, the indigenous culture is everywhere. Like it's
Mm,
represented, it's so alive, it's part of every part of life. It's part of the food, it's part of the art, the culture. There are indigenous people everywhere, just part of society. And it's really like there's still a lot of issues, don't get me wrong, colorism, things
yeah,
like that that exists in Latin America. But the thing is, it's very different from America in terms of how we don't incorporate the native culture into maybe out west and southwest a bit they do, like Arizona places,
Yeah.
but here, especially in the Northeast, there's no traces of it anywhere. Like, would you agree? Like, it's really just not part of our society.
Yeah. Besides like street names and like
Yeah,
stuff being like Plymouth Rock and all that sort of stuff. Even though like there is a rich history of Native American people in the Northeast.
yes, the Lenni Lenape in
Yep.
New Jersey,
Yeah, that's who like our mascots were like based on like, but
the Lenape.
they never taught they really never taught us about like their culture and how they lived. It was just like it's a tough mascot with the mohawk and blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's
Yeah.
good they changed it though eventually, right?
Yep. In
Um,
2020.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like, but
Yeah,
during that time, like I really didn't even see anything wrong with it until they got like pointed out by a couple, like there was like a couple clubs and stuff that were like, yeah, we got to change the mascot, and they would go around like showing us the statistics of like Native American children being harmed by the mascots and stuff, and
yeah,
still people didn't care. They were like, it's out of respect, blah blah blah. But like, if you respected them, you would like, you would respect their wish not to be like mocked and mascotted.
yeah, and especially
And
even
it's
the name, like calling it that instead of like a proper like name, it's like
yeah,
it's just inherently offensive.
and it's like weird. It's like weird. Why do you like? Why are you obsessed with trying to be this mascot? It's like
Yeah, it is weird. Yeah, it's super weird. Like just that obsession and like making it into like a character like thing. Like,
yeah,
um, but yeah, that's a. It's good we're becoming more open and understanding about that stuff and like things like that. That's one of those things that's just so obviously like bad and offensive that it's like there's other stuff which is more of a gray area, right? Like
yeah,
microaggressions and stuff. But that is like a clear like like that's just bad. So we do have to move on from that kind of thing as a society.
yeah,
Um, and I guess I don't know like on the if I'm playing devil's advocate,
yeah.
I would say like
That's cool.
what about like the Viking calling something the Vikings? Like it is also like a characterization of like because I'm Nordic, I'm Scandinavian. It's like a
Yeah,
characterization of these people showing them as like their most vicious side of them and like all of that. I think it like I don't see it as offensive just because there's no obvious history of like of offense towards my people. So it's in our
yeah,
country. So it doesn't strike anything like that. But I don't know. Think about what about in the year 3000? Do you think we'll get to a point where everything is okay, like calling something the Indians or whatever, or will it be we just don't approach like group tribalism like that? Like we don't see a difference.
yeah. I think the world's gonna be so much more interconnected to like at that point where like we might not even like we're not gonna even recognize society
Differences.
today. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's gonna they're gonna look back like how we look at like slavery. You know, like how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, yeah, 100. That's what I think. Yeah, they're gonna look at that, look back and be like, just so disgusted with
Yeah,
what we're doing now.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
They'll be like, what
important
the fuck? But
to
hopefully, sorry.
it's important to like not follow the herd and be your question everything and not just accept everything just because that's the way it is and that's normal.
Yeah, you got to be thinking about a couple hundred years from
Yeah.
now, 100 years from now.
Yep.
Who do you want to be remembered as? The guy
Yep.
that went along with what the crowd was doing, and yeah, at that point you won't be
Yeah.
remembered. Period, because you it makes you insignificant simply by virtue of being part of something, this herd
Yeah.
that's much bigger than you and being exactly like them.
Yeah.
So you got to think like in 50 years, in 100 years, what do I want my legacy to be? Do I want to be that guy? Because there won't be a legacy if you're that guy.
Yeah.
Or do I want to make a positive change? Do I want to see what
Yeah.
needs improvement and make that change? I'll be remembered as that guy. And I don't think you or I are actually worried about being remembered, but it's more so what impact do we want to make?
Yeah. And like I think being truthful and to me is very important because I think when people look back, they're gonna see like how we look at like Martin Luther King and like other people who had progressive ideas. Were like, oh, they were talking that shit back then, even though nobody else knew,
Yeah,
they still
exactly.
knew.
Yeah,
So
one
like,
million percent. Yeah.
it gives people that confidence to be confident in their own beliefs and stuff and to question things like going back on the public like the education thing, going to school, like you're not um you're not incentivized to be curious or question. Like I remember like as a kid, I was always like why this, why this, why that, why that, and then like people around me or the adults around me be like, oh, stop it with that, like it just that's just the
Yeah,
way it
same
is.
thing
They
with
like
me.
they shut you down. And I think it's very important to for everyone, especially kids, to question and challenge everything they know.
100%. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that was my experience too. And the adults, especially my teachers, my science teachers, would just be so exhausted with my
Yeah.
endless questioning. Why
Yeah.
this? Why does an electron exist? Like, where did that? What built? What are the parts that makes this up? Like, where did this come from? Okay,
Yeah.
the Big Bang happened. What created that? What came before that? Why is there anything and not nothing? What is something? What does it mean to exist? And these are answers that they they've accepted for themselves.
Yeah.
Like so they people rationalize things for themselves, and they're so scared of those base questions
Yeah.
that they've cut them out of their life, so they don't
Yeah.
even they come up with some easy answer like, oh, it was this. Like
Yep.
I'm not saying religion's like an easy answer, but like they'll
Yeah.
they'll come because I really respect religion and like people's religions, and
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly personal to the individual. But people come up with answers to make it easy for themselves, so they don't have to worry about these questions. And then when someone asks them the question, they get offended and scared. So they,
Yeah.
especially a kid, they're like, "How is this kid like asking me this question?" But it's like when we're kids, we don't have those
Yeah.
blocks we build for ourselves. So it allows us to just ask, like wonder
Yeah.
why. And we can't be afraid of the question why and how.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we
Um,
can't be too attached to also like why,
yes, you're
like
right. Yeah, yeah. There's a balance.
so many things like so many things happen in my life and I'm like why I need to figure out why this is happening, like this shouldn't be happening, and it's like okay but it is happening, and that's what it is important to accept. Like sometimes it's like we have to accept what's actually objectively there, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah, 100%. Um, you're right about that. It's something I struggle with too, like the right balance of digging
Yeah.
into things, going deeper, and something that helps me is satisficing. So it's this process of when I'm thinking about things, especially different options in life, instead of going too deep into it, the first acceptable option I think of is what I go with. So it works
Okay.
like if you're at the grocery store or
Yeah.
wherever and you're like, oh yeah, what should I get for dinner tonight? First acceptable option. Now cut out all the other time you would have spent thinking
Yep.
about the different other options. What kind of milk will I get, or what am I gonna how am I gonna schedule my day tomorrow? when do I want this appointment to be? When do I want to handle this thing? The first acceptable option, and uh, it saves time for me at least, like with that question of why. And yeah, yeah, it's I think um, yeah, yeah, that's yeah, that question of why. So Craig, um, I I really enjoyed talking to you, and it was a great podcast. And we went through everything I could think of. Do you have anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up?
Um, hmm, yeah. Let me see. Um. Oh. Talk about engine room one more time,
All
because
right.
my experience with that is also going there. I realized I do have the talent, the work, and work ethic, and just the good body of art, the skills to do make good music. Like I can make good music, but that wasn't the issue. It was like my character was the thing that was holding me back, not my skills or that stuff. Cause uh I remember like at that time in my life, I like it was just after I cut out everyone from my life and just basically locked myself in a room for 2 years and just started making music. So once I like went to audio school, I had trouble connecting with people since I wasn't consistently socializing and trying to um connect with people, and that kind of held me back. I didn't have an Instagram or nothing like that to make these connections with people that could have been helpful and important. And the um it's like if you don't grow, your talent will give you something your character can't handle.
If you
So
don't
you could,
grow, your
yeah,
talent will give you something your character can't handle. I think that's really powerful.
you could have all the skills. You could have be the smartest person in the room. You could have everything right, but if you can't connect with people and build relationships with people, you're not going to go anywhere in life.
100%. I think that's true, and it's something I have to remember every day, and really like really just come to terms with for myself and accept. And the character is an important aspect of everything, and it's like how we interface with the world. It's who we are.
Yep.
Um, it's the outlet for all this code that's in our brains. And so, one last thing before we wrap up, I see you have some keys in front of you. Do you have a little something you could play, some chords maybe, and uh,
Uh,
or you could do the guitar or whatever.
which one's tuned? Uh, okay, see this one, scan this one. Oh, wait. Blah blah blah. I'll just put a. I'll improv a riff.
Awesome. Yeah, and then we'll end it on that. I'll have it like end the audio end like right at the riff.
I also have a little performance anxiety. That ooh, huh?
It's fine. We don't have to include it if you don't want, like in the
Okay.
podcast.
Also, yeah, but that's also a point I want to talk about is um with making art. Like a lot of artists are very um self-conscious
Yes.
people and that are like to themselves and they don't really have a desire to be seen, but they want their art to be seen. And it also, like, for me, like, I have trouble showing my music or whatever I do just because it's such a, like, makes me feel vulnerable because since music is such a close part of me, you know?
Yeah.
So it's getting over that fear of being seen has been a challenge for me
Yeah. Yeah, I relate. I relate to that.
because it's Mhm. But then once you actually do put yourself out there and see like, oh wow, people do people there are people out there who would that enjoy my art or what I do, you know? So
Yeah.
it's it's almost like for me, I have like I don't like being selfish, so I tell myself that it's selfish to just like hoard my music and art and just myself in general from
Yeah,
everyone.
it's the opposite though because you're giving people a product that they're gonna enjoy. Like they're only gonna click on your music if they're open to something like that and to that to enjoying some new music. And so you're giving them something positive. They're not gonna choose it to consume it if it's negative. So it's
Yep.
like purely positive to put that out there and not selfish. You're helping people.
Yeah. And it's important for me not to filter myself too much.
Not yeah, 100%.
'Cause I don't really know what everyone wants to hear. Oh, big part of problem making music. I've been too busy trying to figure out what everyone else hears when they listen to music instead of just like going with what I hear, you know?
Yeah.
Because that messes me up so much because I have no idea how other people hear and listen to music because the way I've listened and hear music has changed so much over the years. So
100%. I relate
it's
to
like
that.
I actually have no clue how other people hear music, and I feel like I used to have a better idea of what people hear, but
Yeah.
now I don't know. I only know what I hear. Okay. See, this is loud. Yo, what is
Fire. Craig, it was a great podcast. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing this part of yourself. And I would really love to talk with you again at some point um, on the
course?
podcast, offline, whatever. Let's stay in touch.
Yep.
And yeah, let's wrap up now. But thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I had so much fun. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
100%. I'm going to stop the recording in 3, 2, 1.